Hi, I'm Chris.
Hi, I'm Robert, and we're the Film Flamers, bringing you another hot take.
Yeah, we're hot taking the new Suspiria, which we just saw. It's Halloween night. We drove up to the Alamo Draft House, and we saw it. We slogged through it.
And slogged all the way back. It's a rainy Halloween night, so it's atmospheric outside.
Oh, you were talking about the drive.
Oh, well, I know you're talking about something else. There were some slogs in the evening, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have a caveat, though. Normally, we don't give a shit for spoilers, and we'll just say whatever we want to. And this is no exception. So if you have not seen the new Suspiria, we suggest you pause this recording and go watch it immediately. Come back to us as soon as you're done.
Exactly. We'll wait. Yeah. And you're back.
Hope you enjoyed it. I don't even know where to start with this movie, really. I mean, so I had like the highest expectations for this because Suspiria is one of my favorite horror movies, if not in the top 5.
The original.
Yeah, the original. And
important caveat here.
I was super excited to see this movie. Originally, when they announced there was going to be a remake, I thought, no, never. I can never watch this. It'll never match the original. And then when I saw the first trailer, I was ready. And then throughout the months, it has just grown in my mind. And I can't remember a time in the last like 5 years that I was more excited to see a movie.
That's so sad. I'm sad for you.
There haven't been that many like just huge movies coming out for me that I just have to see.
Exactly though, but I, you have to look back with happiness for being surprised by so many, like The Witch, like It Follows, like Revenge, or however many others that you've loved that you've been surprised by. There's been a lot of surprises in horror,
and surprises are great. But I mean, I also like to look forward to things.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to this too, especially after seeing the original. But of course, because Tilda Swinton.
I'm not the biggest Tilda Swinton fan, and just about every other person in the world seems to be. I mean, like, if you're gonna pick a British actress, I mean, like, give me the grand dames of Britain, or even Toni Collette ever. I mean, I'll watch Toni Collette in anything. Or is she Australian? I don't...
Please forgive him, podcast audience, because he just has not seen that many Tilda Swinton films. Oh, and those he has seen haven't been the best.
That's true. I still haven't seen Snowpiercer, so maybe I'll go home and watch that tomorrow. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that, I mean, I enjoyed her performance in this movie.
Her performances.
That's right. So
she plays not 1, not 2.
But 3 characters in this film.
Yeah, I was fully expecting the 2, but I didn't expect the 3, and I didn't actually find out what the third one was until after. And I don't know if we want to spoil that.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not.
You want to kill the hell out of Marcos?
Oh my God, that movie was missing that line for real. Where do you want to start with this? I mean, this is supposed to be a review, right? A quick hot take, which is probably not going to be that quick by the end of it, but
yeah, I don't care.
You don't care?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one, obviously, we're releasing to the masses instead of just on our Patreon.
Yeah.
Only because we've talked about it so much. We did an episode on it recently, and we kind of alluded and promised that we would give you our hot take on this. So.
Well, and we also released a small bonus of Suspiria sequel ideas to the masses as well. And
we did. So let's continue the trend.
Yeah. So we're gonna Suspiria until the end, apparently.
Yeah, that's just what we're going to be doing.
But instead of at the end, let's start at the beginning of this movie. So everything starts with
Tom York.
Tom York, yeah. The living breath, the sigh of Suspiria, right? Would be Tom York.
Yeah.
This is a waltz thinking about our bodies, what they mean.
It starts with Patricia, just like the original, sort of running through the rainy streets of...
How did they say her name? Patricia.
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 I don't know. You speak German better than I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the German in this film was 3/4 of the movie, but besides that, yeah, get ready for that because this movie has a lot of German and a lot of subtitles. Film. Yeah. And all the subtitles have like a red stroke on them, so be aware. But I didn't expect that, and some of the German is obviously like foreign spoken German, and some of it's better than others, but who cares? No one's going to care about that going in, especially an American audience, but that's just me.
Well, I don't really know any German aside from bitte. So.
Ja, nein, schnell.
Yeah, I know all those words.
Was machst du in deiner Freizeit?
Yeah, I don't
Wo ist mein Flammenwerfer?
Vermittels use. Yeah. I mean, so come on.
So
French.
yeah, I speak a little bit more than him. But yeah, between the two of us, we could go to like 2 countries. So,
Patricia is running through the rainy streets of Germany, similar to what she did at the start of Suspiria.
And was that Hit Girl?
From, what the hell is that movie called?
Or was that Hit Girl or was that Carrie?
Yes, that's Carrie.
Yes.
Chloë Grace Moretz?
Yeah, that's her. That's her. I did not recognize her. She has her hair in front of her face. They never really do her justice as an actress as far as like showing who it is.
She has a really pretty face.
Well, she did, yeah. And she did, and she still has a pretty face, even though later on you see it through all of this something on her face. And, you know, she's still pretty.
However, I mean, like, this is like the first left turn this movie takes. So I'm sort of expecting Patricia to die in a horrible, horrible way, because that's really what sets off the original Suspiria, is her graphic death. And we're treated to another graphic death at the hands of a character that we liked from the original movie as well, and that's Olga. And I think that this is the surprise that people keep talking about in the movie, the surprise death or the really shocking scene that everyone's like abhorred by. And I mean,
I really wanted them to cast Fairuza Balk as Olga this time, just to cut out the middleman. And
she may be a little too old at this point, right? She'd be playing one of the older witches.
She's not quite that old. She's not quite Tilda Swinton's vintage.
No, she's gaining on her. I mean, come on.
Yeah, she's like your age.
Oh my God! Well, I'm old too, so no, she's got to be older than me. We'll sidebar that. Oh wait,
let's see what Google has to say.
Oh shit!
How old is Fairuza Balk?
Fairuza Balk is 44 years old.
Oh, she's the age of my husband. Good. Thank you, God. She's not near as old as me. Yeah, I mean, I guess she would have been good in this movie too, I suppose. But
anyway, sorry I derailed everything.
That's okay. That. I mean, tangents are important.
Yeah.
So Patricia gets the ball rolling by going to see her professor friend. It's a professor, but he's a doctor, right? So like
he was her therapist. Yeah. There was a reason there, and I liked that a little bit better rather than like in the original Suspiria, she like randomly goes to like a
friend's house.
Her friend happens to be a professor at the nearest university. I was like, okay.
Well, yes.
Anyway, this one made a little more sense because he's actively a therapist, right. You know.
And so she disappears, but leaves all her belongings at his house. And he goes through her diary and starts to realize that some of her rants about witches in his office may or may not be true. So he sort of starts to suspect that all of her paranoia is an actual occurrence there.
Yeah, and especially when another student shows up. Or no. He gets her. He asks Susie. He shows up at the school and asks Susie to come with. Not Susie, Sarah.
Sarah.
He asks Sarah to come with him, and they talk, and she's like, everything's normal. And then she comes back when she realizes it isn't. Mm-hmm. And that's when he goes and witnesses the dance where he sees some weird shit go down. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
And that's too. We can just go through a quick synopsis of the movie in a sense. And so I mean, the new Suspiria has all of the old beats and character names as the old one. We have a Madame Blanc, we have a Miss Tanner, a Sarah, and Olga.
And now I think all that's important. But I did go in with I think less high expectations than you, but also with the knowing that they did not want to make a direct remake. He wanted to make a movie that invoked the feeling that he felt when he first watched the film himself.
And I knew that as well. I knew that they weren't going to do an exact remake. Because, I mean, honestly, doing that just seems like a terrible idea. I think that Gus Van Sant did that sort of thing in Psycho, and it doesn't work.
No.
And so, a reimagining or a revisiting of something is better than a straight-up remake, right? So we really can't call this a remake anyway. But the movie itself... The new one has, I mean, it gives itself a creepy feeling in a different way than Argento did with his.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's creepy throughout, I feel.
And I felt like the original kind of does the whole isolated in a foreign country kind of feeling, fish out of water feeling a little bit more, because in this one, Susie had dreamed of going to Berlin since she was a child, apparently, right. And that's all she wanted to do, as if she had been called, and we kind of find that out later as well. Why?
Stylistically, I think this movie, it looks really good.
It does. It has a very limited palette, which is in stark contrast to the original.
Argento. I mean, Argento is just nothing but bright colors, and this is nothing but like tans and shit.
Yeah, tans and blues and grays.
Right.
And it's really speaking to the 70s kind of palette. There's kind of a milky kind of cloud over the film, so there's never any like true blacks or anything, for those of you cinematography nerds. But which I kind of appreciate for the invoking the feeling of period, but it also kind of, I feel like, detracts from the beauty of the film. It adds to the atmosphere, but it kind of takes away from the beauty. But there's enough really good camera work here, and even their sweeping shots are kind of done like handheld shaky a little bit, which also adds. So there's a lot of technical stuff going in here to add to the feeling that he's trying to create.
Even like the sweeping shots, there's lots of like close-up shots of people's faces or people's body parts that look odd and off-putting, and it really just creates a sense of dread, or again, like Argento did in his own film, it creates a dreamlike sense while watching this movie.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how much prep work went into all the technical side of everything, as well as like the choreography that went into a lot of these dances. That must have taken months before filming ever began.
Oh, and I thought they were amazing. And I'm not a huge fan of dance. Like, I mean, I've gone to the ballet and things like that, but it's really not my thing. Especially when you get to like modern dance or interpretive dance, the Martha Graham thing.
I'm really, really gun shy on interpretive dance ever since that thing on Netflix came out. And God, what was that stupid show? It started off so good, and then
Dance Moms?
No, no,
no. You have to Google it. It's fine. Well, he has to Google it.
So the show is called The OA.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And it turns out the OA means Original Angel, and it's so fucking pretentious by the end that I really just hated it.
Rob hated it. He did not like that show, but he watched it to the end. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah, because it starts off amazingly epic and just really done well, and it builds and builds and builds, and it just collapses spectacularly in the last one or two episodes.
There's interpretive,
and you're just like, it culminates to that. It culminates that their dance, or it tries to say that their dance has power, and all these movements have power, kind of similar to in Suspiria, where it can invoke like happenings, and you can change reality and everything else, and then it turns out like she's telling the story, to all of these like people in high school or whatever. And then she goes to the high school and there's like a school shooting and they all like just bust out an interpretive dance to prevent it. But people are still shot and hurt and stuff. So it's like, and then and the end of the series is her like rushing off to the ambulance. Like, so it didn't do anything. And so it's like, you expect
also spoilers for the,
well, it alluded that, it alluded that there was supposed to be like time travel with it and everything else.
You can stop. That just sounds stupid.
Yeah. Just don't watch the OA. Anyway,
but the dancing in Suspiria is, I think, fantastic.
Much better than the OA.
I mean, from a layperson, right? Like, I don't really know the moves or what's behind it or whatnot. But
yeah, the dance in this was incredibly electric. And it makes the OA's interpretive dance look like, I don't know, hand puppets.
Well, and it really makes the original Suspiria's ballet moment seem like crap too, because the dancing in that movie is just there because they're in a dance
it's much
academy.
more traditional, and they just had to have something in there to make it a dance academy.
Right.
Versus in this, they took it very seriously,
and it pushes the story forward.
Oh, it's I would say several times the dance is visual storytelling in a lot of interesting ways, because I'd say the singular scene, of course, and one of the ones that one of the scenes that they showed early audiences to get reactions from was the scene where Susie's first doing her dance for Madame Blanc, and whatever power Madame Blanc has put into her is also affecting not Susie but Olga. And so every dance move that Susie does is contorting Olga's body in a separate private underground dance room that she got locked in, I guess. And it's just contorting and ripping her body apart, and it's really gross to watch. And I had just eaten an Alamo Draft House, and I was just about to throw up on the row in front of me because that was gross. And they don't hide anything. There's like contusions and like you can see the ribs poking like out under the skin, and her face gets
into a leotard. So,
yeah, it got bad. Like, and you could see like her stomach fluids going out of her mouth, and
I was waiting for that scene because I know that people had like vomited and stuff like that when they watched it early on.
Walked out, yeah,
and so I was just ready for it
because they fed them. They fed them like this nice dinner, and then they showed them that scene.
Watch this part.
Yeah. And they're like, why did you do that?
It didn't disappoint, though. I mean, like, as far as like horrific moments in this movie go, that's probably the number one, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was gross.
Except for the end where everyone's heads are exploding, but that was done in a more stylistic, pretentious way.
I still prefer the contorting body to anything in this.
Yeah, that was a lot more straightforward.
I think one of my favorite parts of this movie, especially as a stylistic choice, were the dream sequences that Susie was having. I don't like where they were coming from or how they explained it, but the editing and just the severe imagery quickly that you get in those was very impressive to me. Like, I liked it quite a bit.
One thing I liked about this as far as the themes is that it's a lot deeper, and they're really trying to pull in the history of what's happening in Germany during those times of the Berlin Wall and the separation and what they've all been through and Reconstruction after World War II and all of this stuff and what's going on with women in that time.
Yeah.
And there's those themes in their dance where she's instructing them, and it's all kind of trying to point you in a direction of do not forget the past, but respect it and move forward. Don't cling to the past, move forward and reach for new heights. And that's almost instructed literally by Madame Blanc.
When we're creating this new dance, Rebirth, or whatever she calls it, right?
Yeah, and you see this theme played out with Klemperer, with his lost wife, apparently, Jews from the Holocaust. And you can see this with the dance, obviously, that's the storytelling device. And then on the witch's side, you can see that with... okay, Helena Marcos is trying to do things the old way, kind of an evil way, where they're keeping like these little like half corpses around, these girls, contorted and evil, and creepy as they are, to kind of do their bidding later on, and either to have as backup dancers if they need to.
Well, they were the ends to her means too. I mean, because she had to have a new body
to use in the Sabbath, Sabbath or whatever the fuck they call them, and I feel like that was some comeuppance. Is like, no, this is you and all of your followers are now the past, and we have to reach new heights and do better. And that was Madame Blanc's style. And in this movie, she is not an overt villain, as much as she is almost a bystander to it and accepts it, but she's also trying to move forward and do more and better things, I think.
I might be reaching so far as to say that she's not a villain in this movie. I think that she serves
She's certainly complicit.
She's complicit in a way because she's like a witch in a coven. And, I mean, like, as a witch, she has to have her coven in a sense, right? And so, I mean, and maybe all witches are evil.
Yeah, she's like the Ivanka Trump of this witch administration.
The Melania?
Complicit. Yeah. So, the new scent by Ivanka.
She really serves as a mother to Susie, I think, right? I mean, as far as the movie progresses, she becomes the mother that Susie didn't have.
Yeah. And there's a lot of weird plot elements in here, like characters and just different things that happen in the background, little stories that are trying to kind of either visually story tell the themes or... I don't know. Like, we didn't really need Susie to have a mother in the background. We didn't need that.
We didn't need to know that she was a Mennonite.
I was thinking, and her mother's dying in bed, and it's like flashing back to that. And I thought it was a flashback to like the original, like Mother Suspiria.
Well, because she's making that same breathy sigh that Helena Marcos makes in the original.
So there's a lot of. What was the word? The word that you used coming out? It's convoluted.
It's convoluted. It's very convoluted.
There's a lot of extra stuff here that could have like hit the cutting room floor. I feel like the first 3/4 of the film are much more straightforward than the last. They don't really bring those themes home. The last scene of the movie is essentially about Klemperer and his wife, randomly to me. Like, it could have been brought home a little bit more clean. And maybe it's because we were in Alamo Drafthouse, we're eating, we're a little distracted. And maybe we're not reading all the subtitles because we're like soaking in all the visuals of the film, because there's a lot of visual storytelling here. It's not the best subtitle film. quite honestly.
No, but they do it. They try to make those subtitles look as like flashy to you as possible. Because I mean, the normal subtitles are just some standard white copy, right? But these have some sort of like tint around the edges of the lettering and things like that.
Yeah,
like it looks different.
And when half the film is in subtitles,
Yeah.
it's like, please make them more readable.
A little bit.
Yeah, come on.
I was thinking during this movie about the tagline in the original Suspiria trailer, where like the only thing scarier than the last 10 minutes of Suspiria is the first 90, and I was like, the only thing scarier in the last 10 minutes of the new Suspiria is the first 270. I mean, like, he could have cut a lot of this out.
Yeah, and I know that you're a fan of Guadagnino, but I've only seen 2 of his films now. And one thing I'm getting is that there's a lot of raw talent here, but he just can't keep it together before he just has to. He is very masturbatory. Like to a certain point, like he was really reined in. You could see a lot of discipline with his narrative, and then it just like goes ape. You know.
You don't think that Call Me by Your Name has a good narrative from start to finish? There's a definite beginning, middle, and end.
There is. To your point, there is. But I feel like there's a level of pretension there, and it was, to me, okay. Let me go backwards a little bit. A lot of the time when a director directs actors, he'll say, stare blankly at the camera or something similar to that, okay, so that the audience can read the emotion in you. That's how he directs his films. He basically tells the film itself to stare blankly at the audience, and the audience can get what they want from it. And so when I watched it, I saw filmmaking craft, and I saw what I was kind of supposed to get, and it was kind of passionless to me. Call Me by Your Name. I feel like it's overrated. I feel like there's a level of pretension in there that I just can't kind of gag. It was expertly made. It was beautiful. It was well acted. But I just didn't get emotionally involved. And it could have been my time of, the month or something. I don't know. Like I was looking forward to it, It's not every day we get a highly regarded gay film, and Robert just was crying.
I did. I bawled and bawled and bawled. I mean, after that movie ended, I had to walk outside the theater and stand to the side because I could not stop crying.
Yeah, I feel like his films in a way, or at least that film, is almost like that whole, what is that, Yanny and when you play that sound, and like that was a whole thing.
Oh yeah. Like, what do you hear? Or even like, what color is this dress, sort of thing. I mean, yeah. So maybe he just makes polarizing movies, because I know a lot of people are going to leave this new Suspiria and hate it.
And it's been very polarizing so far. Yeah. And because of that, I was thinking, several of the reviewers have said that there's an air of pretension here that is kind of a common theme in his films. And he succumbs to it by the end. And I thought this could have been a much tighter as far as what are the points he was trying to make. Don't just visually storytell. Don't just kind of vaguely do it. These are heavy themes that you're working with here. These are important things to say. And I felt like he could really have brought it home better.
I don't have a problem with pretentious visual storytelling from a directorial standpoint or stylistic standpoint, just because I know that so much more goes into it's not just the director making these calls too. I mean, like, an editor has a hand in that, a cinematographer has a hand in that, and these people sort of work together to craft this movie. So it's really not just him making these choices.
And some people just get it, and those are the people he makes the film for. But it's almost like you have to be in a specific mood or kind of pre-sold. And for me, it's like I'd rather come out arguing and debating the themes with myself rather than the plot points.
Yeah.
Or if I was supposed to feel something. And if that's left ambiguous, I feel like there's something missing.
I think a good part of cinematic storytelling is something that sticks with you, and something that makes you think, and something that makes
you surely
wants
does
to
that.
watch the movie again. And I feel that I need to watch this movie a couple more times to fully understand it.
Yeah, but it's not... I like that, but I'd rather watch a movie again because I really liked it and enjoyed it and want to be entertained by it and want to go through those emotions again. It's not something that I'm going to like go back to feel like whatever emotions I was. Do I want to barf again? I mean,
yeah.
Do I want to be like sliding? Ooh, I think I know what they're doing here. Ooh, I think I know what they're saying here. I love this background, this historical background of this film and what they're trying to say, but they just don't end up saying it. They're like, this is a story about this. And then we're going to like make a few vague points about it and not bring it home or say a conclusion or wrap it up. It's like he's trying, that's the whole pretension thing, right? He's trying to present to you a piece of art and have you take away what you will. And for a movie, especially one that is kind of supposed to be an answer to the original Suspiria, it doesn't answer anything. And,
no.
Yeah. So I guess that's my caveat. And I'll watch it again, if nothing else, just to get more out of it, because I think it was really well made, but...
If it were playing closer to where I live, I would go see it again tomorrow. I would go watch it again immediately.
Yeah, I want him to rein himself in. I want an edit of it that's just a little bit makes more sense.
And I want him to go do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Well, speaking of which, 3 of us all came out with different ideas of what this film meant. What you thought was something completely different as far as plot wise. We weren't talking about themes. We were talking about what actually happened at the end, because it's very stylized. I'm going to say it. It reminds me of the end of Sunshine, where it's so good of a movie, yet, but it kind of ends kind of this batshit stylistic, artistic, kind of pretentious way a little bit. And this one more so, I think, than Sunshine in a way. But we were kind of arguing about like what actually happened there. Like, was this person? Was that person? Like, what were they doing? Like, what does that mean? It was never really shown well. And I don't think none of those things in that scene had anything to do with the theme per se.
No, I mean, no, it's
like that should have been a lot
wrap up of a movie.
It should have been a lot clearer for a crescendo, climactic moment in a film. It should have been explained better.
So what we're talking about is that there are 3 mothers in this, universe, right? The mother of sighs, the mother of tears, the mother of darkness. These 3 main witches that sort of control the world.
Yeah. Helena Marcos, which is the mother of this dance academy or whatever.
Coven.
The Coven. She claims to be Mother Suspirium, right? Mother of Sighs. And so it ends up that she is not. She's been claiming to be, and so she was going to let this whole ritual happen so that she could claim a younger body. Right. But that is what they end up doing, is basically invoking the spirit or avatar of Suspirium, in which turns out to be Susie. And Susie basically says, no, I'm Suspirium, and everyone that was following basically the false idol, the false god Helena Marcos, shall die. And so basically Marcos and all of her followers that voted for her at the beginning of the film end up getting their heads exploded in spectacular fashion, but in kind of stop motion-y, bright red, really artistically weird way.
Well, and their heads are exploded sort of by this being, this creature, this woman-esque demon-looking thing that's completely black.
Yes, right? And I thought that was basically a call-out to the original kind of monster you never really fully see in the original Suspiria, with the black hands that kind of attack Patricia in the very first scene. But I always thought it was like kind of an invoked monster, invoked spirit, or avatar of Suspiria, or the head witch, or whatever will have you, the coven itself. And that's what we actually came home and read the Wikipedia plot points, and it tended to agree with my version, my takeaway with that, versus my boyfriend Matt and Robert's takeaway was that the original, like the Mother of Tears, had killed herself earlier in the film.
Because here's what I think: there's that,
and
witch,
then the Mother of Sighs was not Helena Marcos but Susie, and then the Mother of Darkness is the one that was coming up from nowhere and killing everyone, even though she was clearly supernatural and came from nowhere.
Well, witches are supernatural anyway, so that's
okay, but you know what I mean.
And
like,
it's
not
a horror movie,
not
too,
a human.
Yeah.
That thing was not human.
I think that, I still like my interpretation. I think it's better than what we read on Wikipedia. I think having a literal embodiment of these 3 mothers in the same coven is a good idea.
Well, Argento's original plan was that each mother would have their own coven. Right?
That's right. But we already talked about him going away from Argento. So, once I saw that witch crying, I was convinced that she was the Mother of Tears.
And you could be right. Someone could rewrite that wiki today. And
once
there could be some sort of consensus.
that dark being, right, which could be a witch, even though
see, we shouldn't be arguing about this sort of thing. It should be pretty straightforward, and like that was all done over the top artistically.
There are other movies where you question what happened in plot. It happens, and people take away different ideas of what actually happened in a movie.
Yeah, but I'd rather be talking about I feel like he would want a filmmaker would want you to be arguing about the meanings and the
I'm
feelings.
sure that he has some deep allegorical thing going on with this, where something is representative of like post, World War II culture and stuff like that, and he's going in some deep direction that we're just not going to get ever.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to find out more in the director's commentary, but I really feel like it was straightforward visually enough.
Well, and sometimes too, if you make art like that, you really have to just give it out to the world and let them decide, because interpretation is inherently selfish. Every time you watch something, read something, listen to something, it's what you take away from it. Yeah. So no matter what he wants it to be, I mean, he doesn't get to tell people exactly what it is.
And there is, and I almost feel like Klimperer was in that scene randomly. Like, I don't feel like he should have been. I feel like it was weirdly rationalized, but they needed someone to be the audience, because at that point, Susie ceases to be us. Yeah. She is now Suspiria. We needed someone to kind of witness. And what would he take away from all this? Would he have known that was the Mother of Tears earlier in the film?
No,
would we know?
Well, I mean, maybe. Well, he wasn't there. He didn't see
that's completely not answered either. Yeah. The theoretical Mother of Tears, which I don't think she was the Mother of Tears.
There's a lot.
Stabs herself in the neck, and they're like, we couldn't stop her, and they never explain why she killed herself. Like,
because she's sad.
It was just random.
She's the Mother of Tears. She'd be crying all the time. I mean, she's gonna commit suicide anyway. All she does is like cry.
Yeah, I don't know. So either way, obviously, as you can hear, the last 10 minutes of us essentially arguing about what happened in this movie
in the first 270 minutes before it.
It's got some issues. Not saying that's good or bad or right or wrong, but it's got some issues, guys. It's got some issues.
I wish that they would have given Jessica Harper a bigger, better role than just his wife.
Yeah, and at first it was like a flashback, and she was like slapping him or something, and it was like, that was random. Like, that doesn't make sense either. Looking back at that,
she shows up and has this whole monologue, and it turns out she's not even there.
Yeah,
it's a lure to get him to the dance academy or whatever. I was like, that's a cop out piece of shit.
Casually like walking.
I will say that, I mean, for those who love the original Suspiria,
what was he dropping into the water?
That was Patricia's stuff in the hook.
Yeah, but obviously that was part of the illusion, because he actually ended up bringing the hook back with him.
I thought that the witch went and got it, because she was like, look how dirty he made it. And they were like pulling him into the academy, right? Like, they knew what was going on all the time.
I don't think they dove in after. I think that was part of the illusion.
They don't have to. They're witches.
Because he was on his way to go look for her.
And bring it up out of the water if they wanted to, right? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They can do it whatever he wants. The screen goes red.
The witches in this movie are fantastic, though. Like, some of them are just batshit crazy. They act it. You get to see a lot more of the interaction between the witches. They are much more of a coven than they are in the original.
I really appreciated that, but I liked the original too, where it's behind closed doors and you have to find out if she finds out. But the camera doesn't really follow a particular character so much in this film.
Yeah,
it's all over the place, and so it's less focused in that way. But I really did appreciate kind of being in on it with the witches from the beginning.
And I mean, like we said earlier, they do follow a lot of beats from the original. There's lots of footstep counting and finding secret passages and things like that.
Okay, that footstep counting though, she listens at the wall for maybe 30 seconds, and then she's counting up to like 120 steps, and she immediately finds the place.
She's counting.
How long were you listening at that wall? Because
it felt like she was counting forward at first, and then when she gets to the end, she's like 3, 2, 1. I'm like, which way are you going?
I can barely remember a phone number. How are you remembering like 5 different sets of footsteps that go up to in the hundreds?
Yeah,
there was some weird shit in this movie as far as like, I don't know. There were some leaps. There was some multiple leaps of weirdness.
So let's talk about the acting real quick, right? Obviously, you feel that Tilda Swinton characters. She was better in this.
She's the standout, and she was made to be the standout. Obviously, designed to be.
The person I really thought did the best job in this movie was Mia Goth. I thought that she did a fantastic job. Every time she was on camera, I was just enamored of her.
Who was she?
She was Sarah.
Oh, yeah, she did good.
She was in a movie called The Cure for Wellness.
I thought that, honestly, that could have been played by almost anyone.
I just loved her in this movie. I thought she was fantastic. I don't even know. Maybe it's just her face. I'm a sucker for a woman with like huge ass eyes too. And
who was really great in this movie?
Tilda Swinton.
It's like you can read my mind.
Oh my God. What about Dakota Johnson?
Yeah, okay. Dakota Johnson was good.
I mean, it was a lot better than fucking 50 Shades of Grey, right? Yeah. So, and she still gets to show her ass off.
Yeah, she had like, her IQ is still in like the single
Teens?
digits, but yeah.
Oh, wow. I was much nicer to her than you were. She looks good.
Yeah. Her and her big under eye circles.
Oh my God.
I don't want to body shame. No, she was great. But I don't think she's gonna I don't think it's gonna further her career or anything. Not like
I don't think this movie's furthering anyone's career.
I don't know. You know who I think it will further their career?
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton.
What, are you smelling an Oscar in her future for this?
With the 3 different characters that she played, she might be flirting with a nom.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen for her. I just don't. I don't think this movie's going to get a whole lot of love from the award season, except
Tom York might.
Tom York for his music, which is fantastic.
When I arrive, will you come and find me? Or in a crowd, be one of them?
If you haven't listened to the soundtrack, go and listen to it.
Yeah, and it's certainly not iconic like Goblin, but it's effective.
It is effective. And nothing can touch Goblin's score for Suspiria. It's just that will never happen.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, especially his vocals in Suspirium, the song from the opening title of the movie, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
opening
good.
and closing.
Yeah, so he will get some nominations for this, I think. But I think that's about it. Maybe some set design or some editing, technical things.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to acting, comes to directing, Best Picture nominations, things like that, it's out. It's not going to get anything. That's probably way too much to hope for. Thankfully, we still have Hereditary, which will get some stuff. Mark my words.
Hereditary.
Well, which do you like better, the original Suspiria or the remake? And don't give me some bullshit answer like you can't compare the two. Which one did you enjoy the most?
They're on 2 different levels of my brain. If I wanted to go just watch something, and just to enjoy, and get through, it would be, the original Suspiria. But if I wanted to have a thinker piece and really kind of, I don't know, hurt my brain and my eyes and my stomach, then I would watch this one. I don't know. I'd almost give them the same score, in yays.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. While I liked the remake, and I mean, like I just said, not to compare the two, right? And you really can't. I would still rather sit down and watch the original 77 version any day of the week.
Yeah, and I feel like you're not alone there.
Yeah.
And some people are just going to like this one, especially those that never saw the original or didn't see it until later. Then they're not going to have that nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
And so that's going to factor in too.
It's just a better movie. It's not.
You could have,
it's a better
you could have
movie.
a Guadagnino directed Night of the Demons, and you'd still like the original better because of your nostalgia.
I would like to see what he would do with Night of the Demons.
He would burn it. He would take the original reels and burn it. That's what he would do.
He would never do that. He probably loves that fucking movie. He probably does.
I doubt that. I really doubt that.
I'm not even, aside from some of the more graphic
not
things
pretentious
in this movie,
at all. It's unpretentious. That's what I can say about Night of the Demons. It's
not pretentious.
Unpretentious to the nth degree, and that is the polar opposite of
there was not an
Guadagnino.
ounce of pretension in that movie.
There was not an ounce.
It was really not.
Yeah, it knows itself. It had fun.
Okay, well, how many yays are you going to give Suspiria 2018?
Well, I feel like that could go up or down with repeated viewings, and this is literally an hour after I got up off my seat in the theater.
And so the first hour after, out of 5 yays.
I want to say 3. I want to say 3 out of 5.
I'm going to give it 4.
But I might search my soul and give it 0.25 higher, just like you did with Star Wars Born. Okay. So the official Film Flamers initial score for Suspiria, the new Suspiria, is a 3.5.
Definitely go see it if you haven't. If you listen to this all the way to the end, you still hadn't seen the movie like we told you to do, go look at it. and really look at it, because this movie is amazing to see. And tell us what you think about it. You can tell us on social media, on Twitter or Facebook at The Film Flamers, or you can email us at what, Chris?
tiredqueens@filmflamers.com.
That's right. If you go to filmflamers.com, you can find all of our episodes. You can also find all of our episodes pretty much wherever you get your podcasts these days, I think, right?
That's true. Well, they're already listening, so they know where to find us.
You can find other hot takes for movies that we've seen, as well as our Brightest Flame Awards and other great bonus content on our Patreon at patreon.com/filmflavors.
Yeah, we've got a lot of bonus content now and coming out, and you can get it for as little as $2. So help us out, guys. We made it for you.
So until next time, Chris.
Sweet dreams. Gay.
Every time.